harassers.
Good day there once again, viewers. This is your mate Kamikaze78 here, and guys, I know that, in my intro clips I normally like to include an epic kill or a quick set of kills or, something along those lines, but this time around I think it would have just been a little bit more fitting to show off just what Planetside 2 is all about. Scale and gorgeous open battles that span hundreds of players over multiple squared kilometers. And the reason that I wanted to share a clip like that for the intro of this video is because that is really the spark that got me into Planetside 2 in the first place. The fact that this game offered up huge, open scale, gorgeous battles on a scale that we had never seen accomplished by any other game in the past. And I've got to say that that spark that I first felt when I played this game back in 2012 for the first time, that spark has been reignited. For the first time in a very, very long time, I've just felt like a, happy, giddy gamer who is just immersed in massive open-scale warfare that only Planetside 2 could ever achieve. I'm playing with outfit mates again, running huge armor columns, taking bases, and just enjoying the game for all of the reasons that it was meant to be enjoyed for. And one of the big factors behind this was, the fact that we Briggs players can now treat ourselves to a server transfer over to the Connery server. You guys know that I've been wanting this to happen for ages now. I mean, if any of you guys have come into a stream of mine as of late, or watched a video where Briggs is in the title, then you have probably come across a little rant from myself as to why they should just shut down the server and let us transfer to a server like Connery or Soltec. And after many rants, I have finally had my wish granted. If anything, I think that Reddit post of the bloke who solo capped the entirety of the Briggs server was kind of the nail in the coffin, and I'm not joking there, guys. One guy was on the server alone long enough to ghost cap an entire continent. That kind of said a lot about the state of the server, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, fast forward to today, and here we are with the opportunity to transfer our characters to the Connery server. And I've got to say, guys, having my main character on a populated server again, what a dream! As of late, I've been working on new characters on Soltec and Connery, but it was just so much fun just to get my main Briggs character into ASP, fighting the good fight on a server that actually, had a fight to enjoy. So, in short, if you are from the Briggs server, but the lacking population drove you away from the game, now is the time to make a return. I promise you it is worth it, and the ping is, yes, slightly higher, but the experience of the game makes up for it. And it's pretty easy to get used to such a high ping. I mean, I've been playing on high ping for years now, but again, I'm quite used to it, and you don't really tend to notice it. But I digress, guys. Beyond the joys that have graced the Briggs server population alone, I've got to say that with the recent patch that introduced DX11, as well as the Nannette system's Operatives, this game is now a game that shooter fans need to check out in 2019. There have been plenty of videos created by content creators that emphasize that Planetside 2 has been worth checking out over the years despite its age. I mean, it's free, so why not? But now, above all else, is what I could consider the key moment, the time where if you have ever considered checking out this game, checked it out in the past and burned out, or have never even heard about the game before, now is the time to check it out. And the reason I think that now is the time, guys, is due to the DX11 update and some of the major quality of life improvements that have been made to this game. But this comes with the caveat that DBG works on some of the issues that have arisen as of late with the update, which we will also discuss later in this video. But the positives first. Let's ride this high wave while we can, guys, yeah? As long as I can remember, I've been pushing for performance improvements in the game. The free-to-play aspect of the game aims to keep it accessible, but that only ever works if the game on the majority of computers is actually playable, and sadly that often didn't end up being the case with Planetside 2, even on modern higher-end machines. I mean, I'm running myself a GTX 1060 and even struggled to hit 60 FPS in most battles on lower-end settings. But now that problem simply no longer exists, and now players are able to enjoy the game as the visual spectacle that it was always intended to be. Players are no longer going to be forced to run the game on potato settings to even be somewhat competitive, and I've got to say guys, being able to run this game now at 60 FPS on ultra settings on a 2K resolution, it's just awe-inspiring and such an amazing experience, a one of a kind, something that needs to be experienced by all fans of the shooter genre. And the last thing you want for a game which is 6 years old is for players to feel as though they need to absolutely demolish their graphics settings in order to play it. I hate to break this to people, but Planetside 2 is not a competitive game in the slightest. This is very much a game that focuses on placing you in a large-scale war, and for a game like that, having a pretty battlefield like that helps to add to the experience and immerse you in the chaos, and just in general, sell itself. The Planetside 2 devs here have allowed for this to happen again, and with the DX11 update in the game, I am hoping that this is something that only continues to be improved on. Right now, we can expect to see a whole lot more gameplay coming out for this game in the long run that's going to look pretty, and that's one thing that Planetside 2 has really suffered by. You know, when players, aim to play well, and those are the players who end up making montages, they're often running on potato settings, and therefore the game doesn't look that great. Now players are going to be able to at least turn on some shadows, turn on some graphical improvements, and still get consistent frame rates that allow them to still perform as they used to. But people who are watching a Planetside 2 video can say, hey, that game actually looks quite good, graphically at least, let's see how it plays. Now, beyond performance, you guys might just remember a little suggestion we made in a video a while back where we talked about the new player experience and ways to fix it. We suggested that our new player brethren should be placed directly into a squad upon logging into the game. Even old mate Rel jumped onto the conversation surrounding the topic. But now, fast forward to today, and we have a quality of life improvement that sees players being placed directly into a squad as soon as the game boots up. This, in my opinion, is one of the better changes that we have seen made to the game as of late, as it allows for the new player to get straight into the firing line with veterans, and in turn have a shred of guidance as to where and how to make sense of this all-out battle that can be quite confusing to make sense of a lot of the time. Now, for all you players out there who like playing solo, or have an outfit that you'd rather squad up with instead of being placed into a random squad, like myself, then there is an option to turn off this feature in the settings menu. This allows for the feature to help those who need it, but not annoy those who don't. Yeah, GG, DBG, you've done well there. One of the large implementations of this update was of course the Nannette system's Operatives, the new robots that make it look as though Skynet has finally staked its claim on Araxis. These are characters available to premium membership players of the game only, and when a player decides to log in with one of these characters, the game will allocate that character to the faction that needs the population the most. The faction only has access to Nannette system's weapons, as well as Nannette system's vehicles, with the possibility of heavy tanks, aircraft, and max suits being hinted by the developers for future updates for the Nannette Systems Operatives, as well as right now they do lack a heavy tank, an ESF, as well as, a max suit, as they can't access the Empire-specific gear. Overall, I will say that the robots don't add anything too crazy to the game from a gameplay perspective for the player who's actually playing them, and mainly acts as another character for players who enjoy Nannette Systems gear to rank up, get directive points on, and bypass any kind of faction-specific continent queues. And that right there, actually, guys, has been the greatest impact of these characters. In fact, that continent queues have essentially been non-existent since the patch, despite high population counts. And that comes from the fact that the overall population of the game has been a lot more evenly spread thanks to these Nannette Systems Operatives, because people are logging into the NSO robots and therefore playing on the faction automatically, which needs the most amount of help, which has in turn meant that there's been less Zerg stomping and more dynamic, evenly placed fighting across the entire continent on the Connery server, and I've been really excited to see how the battles are constantly evolving. The alerts in particular have been a lot more balanced, and it's made for some incredibly fun and dynamic gameplay that makes you feel as though you need to really earn an alert win nowadays. The spawn system revamp has also come into the game, but I've got to admit that I have been having more issues than not with it over the past couple of days, and it's gotten to the point at times where it can really just kill your ability to get into a fight, and this is the main issue that I was referring to earlier in this video. The key examples have been when the continent is in an unstable state, where I've been fighting on the defense at TI alloys, for example, but upon leaving the hex by a whole couple of meters, I no longer qualify as being able to spawn in that hex, as it's considered horrifically overpopulated by the NC on the defending side, and then have to spawn a couple of hexes back in order to get into the fight. And I know that this is happening because the spawning system now tries to prioritize players towards going towards pops or fights with even populations. So if there's a fight on the other side of the map that needs reinforcements to balance out the population, then the game is going to try and enforce that on players. But when there's only one lane of fighting happening and the pops are all, you know, segmented into one territory each and not really, you know, causing any sort of like balanced fighting in these hexes, then you are essentially unable to spawn there. Even Sunders that have, no joke, I'm not kidding when I say this, been about 20 meters away from me in the hex that is considered overpopped, they've not been considered a spawn option because of that NC overpop. So the system does need some serious work, especially for times like the unstable state of a continent, when the map locks 3 factions in one fight in arguably sometimes 3 separate hexes. So some work needs to be done on that front as well, guys. And yes, while client-side stability in the form of FPS has seen huge improvements in this update, the thing that has not seen huge improvements has been server stability. Over the last couple of nights, Connery has crashed at least 3 times in my experience, and just leading up to that crash, the game basically gets unplayable with server latency issues. So the devs have to work on that. I know they have been trying to get some work done on it, and there have been more times than not a fairly stable play experience on the server, but there have been a few occasions where, you know, it's sort of getting to the point where I want to log off straight away just due to that server lag. Oh, and I also believe tank mines aren't working right now, so there's that. But guys, despite some of these cons that I've listed here, the pros are certainly outweighing the cons right now. The game is in quite possibly, I would argue, the best place it has ever been in with the performance, and that in turn allows for anyone of any system rig to at least come into this game and enjoy the fights for what they're meant to be. That is large, open scale, gorgeous battles. If you are watching this video and as somebody who's always been interested in Planetside 2 but never got around to it, someone who's hearing about the game for the first time, or somebody that, you know, is getting back into the game after some burnout, guys, there's never been a better time to enjoy what this game is all about with this most recent update. There are times, guys, where I feel like I'm playing back on launch day weekend, and for that to be the state in a game that is approaching its 7th year of running time, that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. And I urge to all of my fellow Planetside 2 veterans that are watching this video right now, share this video on Twitter, share this video on your Reddit platform, share this video out there as much as you can. We need to get the word out that Planetside 2 is right now in the best state it has been in years, in my humble opinion, and there's more content on its way as per promised by the developers early in the year and late last year. So guys, if you guys enjoyed today's video, please feel free to back in the like button. It's been a while since I've talked to you guys, and it's a pleasure to come back here and hang out with you guys once again. Jump on my Twitch channel too, guys. I tend to stream a lot there in Australian prime time, and I am trying to get more streams in where you guys on the other side of the world can come and enjoy some content as well. So it'd be great to see you guys all hanging out on my Twitch as well, where we play a wide variety of games, and yeah, basically play games that I don't have time to work on YouTube videos for. Once again, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.